First of all, please let me introduce myself. My name is Jing Wu from University of Hawaii at Manoa. I'm here today to present my latest paper entitled A Diachronic Semantic Study on the Chinese classifier Jia. During the next 20 minutes, as you can see on the screen, this presentation is structured as follows. Firstly, I will begin with the abstract. Diachronic semantic analysis is employed in this present study to explore the origin and semantic evolution of the classified Jia. Through illustrating its origin and development, this preliminary study intends to, at first, explore and comprehend the emergence and development of the Chinese classified Jia, and then attest the perspective of the fundamental rule of human cognition and perception in the classified language system, as signified by Tai and Wang. The result of this study proved that the classified Jia is not an arbitrary linguistic device. Instead, its utilization throughout history reflects human categorization in reliance on the perceptual property of the supporting framework of the reference. While grammatical gender is employed to categorize nouns in some Indo-European languages, according to Tai, measure words can be found in every language, including English. However, some languages such as Chinese and Thai, from the cognitive perspective, have classifiers that are used to categorize an object in reference to its salient perceptual properties. Chinese and several other languages are designated as classified languages. Allen defined a classifier as an independent morpheme, which denotes some salient perceived or imputed characteristic of the entity to which an associate noun refers or may refer. Moreover, it is noted that almost the same set of parameters are utilized for categorization classifiers in these classified languages, such as material, shape, size, or other inherent characteristics of the referent. Nouns among these classified languages are further categorized by classifiers, particularly for Chinese classifiers. However, Tai and Wang argue that it is still unclear whether they reflect conceptual structures or are merely arbitrary forms without a conceptual basis. Over the past decades, the classifier has been regarded as an extensive domain in Chinese linguistics. It has been explored from the perspectives of semantics, idiosynchronous, discourse pragmatics, grammaticalization, and so forth. However, not much attention has been focused on the systematical study on the Chinese classified system, especially from the cognitive point of view. Tai introduced the first cognition-based systematic study of the classified system across Chinese dialects. The findings of the study demystify the classified system in Chinese, remarkably reflect conceptual structures and human categorization. In light of the study, Tai argued that the Chinese classified system are cognitively and semantically motivated and not arbitrary. Moreover, with regards to cognitive linguistic approach, in the Chinese classified acquisition, Zhang and Jiang stress that the functions of individual Chinese classifiers are not as arbitrary as the way they were presented in the textbook. They point out that there is always a semantic relation between a classifier and associate nouns referenced by the classifier, and the functions of an individual classifier are normally related to a central sense. Thereby, the findings of their study prove that the CL approach, by illustrating the polysemy network and the underlying motivations, could fasten the progress of Chinese classified learning. There are approximately hundreds of classifiers in Chinese, among which most of them can be traced back historically to their origins. Besides, each individual classifier has its own semantic network. Moreover, according to Jiang, the relationship among the nouns assigned to a classifier should not only reflect the synchronic semantic network of the classifier, but also indicate the diachronic semantic development structure of the classifier. Therefore, it is suggested that the synchronic semantic analysis is expected to work in tandem with diachronic development examination. Such a collaborative approach may promisingly lead to more comprehensive and convincing observations. The character 家 as a later form compound is composed of the semantic 木 wood and the phonetic 加 to add. In the Kangxi Zidian, Kangxi Dictionary, the standard Chinese dictionary during the 18th and 19th centuries explained the characters as follows: 一也，所以举物, meaning little wooden stack can lift or hold things. Hence, 家 originally constitute a noun referring to a frame, a rack, or a stand used to hold up things as illustrated in example 1. 凡以干为衣架者，名曰仪 from 尔雅士气书. Here, 家 denotes a clothes hanger. Thereafter, it has been extended a corresponding verbal meaning of to prop up things with the frame, rack, or stand. Then more precise verbal meanings of to build, to construct, and later more abstract verbal meanings of to support, to help, and so on. The verbal function of 家 emerged from the pre-Qing period. And then its both nominal and the verbal meanings were concurrent, used till the Wei and Jing and southern and northern dynasties, as demonstrated in example 2 here. 构架着靴，工匠之利也 from 论衡. Here, 架 means propping. Later, 架 evolved into a classifier as well as its classifier function progressively developed during the Wei, Jing, and the southern and northern dynasties, as shown in example 3. 既立宅宇而所起五间六架 from 宋书五行志, which means the resident place has been constructed. It is a place where 5 rooms and 6 structures were built up. As aforementioned, the classify function was evolved and developed during the Wei, Jing, and the southern and northern dynasties. Afterwards, from the Tang dynasties, the usage of 架 as a classifier was applied extensively, particularly indicating reference that need support of bone structure items as well as racks for putting and hanging items, as illustrated in example 4. 城中12架当12城之位 from 通典, meaning there are 12 bell chimes, each representing a position for 12 hours. And example 5. 一架长条万朵春，嫩红深绿小柯云 from 唐诗蔷薇. Before the Tang dynasty, 架 had been used to categorize reference with a larger size or heavier weight, whereas 架 in example 5 was used to describe the lightweight rose branch. Apparently, it revealed a newly emerging trend of classified 架, generalization. Thereafter, during the Song and Yuan dynasty, the classified 架 was experiencing a continuation of process of generalization. Accordingly, even though the primary semantic function of the classified 架 remained unchanged, its utilization was generalized to more abstract reference. Examples 6 and 7 are provided as follows. 殷殷一架干云梁 from 全宋词鹧鸪天. meaning one shady dark purple cloud brings coolness. And example 7. 翠裘寒，一架清香 from 全宋词，声声慢. In the example above, 架 was used metaphorically to measure cloud and fragrance, those more abstract objects with no need to be supported or held up by a frame. As per Lakoff, metaphor implies a cross-domain mapping in the conceptual system. Therefore, based on one well-established existing conceptual domain, we use our embodied experience to form more complex conceptual structures in order to understand other things. Further, Jiang suggests that the metaphor extensions in the case of Chinese classifiers contributes to developing intricate networks of interrelated categories, expressed by one word. Shortly, Ming and Qing dynasty witnessed the heyday of the utilization of the classified jia. The number of its reference substantially surpassed any previous dynasties. Example 8 is illustrated as follows. 正中间设一架纸炉 from 西游记, meaning there's a paper stove in the middle. To conclude, according to Jiang, each individual extension of the usage of the classifier has its own historical cognitive basis that can result in a very complicated domain. Thereby, a diachronic semantic analysis is employed in this study to explore the origin and semantic evolution of jia. It originally was a noun referring to a frame, a rack, or a stand used to hold up things. Afterward, it has been extended a corresponding verbal meaning of to prop up things with the frame, rack, or stand, and then more precise verbal meaning of to build, to construct, and later more abstract verbal meanings of to support, to help, and so forth. Through the Wei, Jing, and the Southern and Northern dynasties, jia evolved into a classified, and then its classified function obtained a preliminary development. Thereafter, from the Tang dynasties, the utilization of jia as a classifier could be found extensively, primarily indicating reference that needs support of bone structural items as well as racks for putting or hanging items. Such a generalized process proceeds through the Song and Yuan dynasties. In consequence, its applications were generalized to more abstract reference. Later, compared with the previous period, Ming and Qing dynasties witnessed a full development with the broadest application scope of the classified jia, as well as the highest numbers of its reference. So clearly, the diachronic semantic evolvement and the development form of the Chinese classified jia not only reveals the inherent semantic network of Chinese classifiers, but also demonstrates the cognition and perception development of Chinese people. Indeed, those conceptual structures and cognitive perceptions have been profoundly rooted in Asian civilization, cultural practice, and most of all, people's daily lives. Hence, this preliminary study proved that the classified jia is by no means an arbitrary linguistic device. Instead, the classified utilization throughout the history reflects human categorization in reliance on the perceptual property of the supporting framework of the reference. Therefore, more future studies on the classified acquisition are expected to be in line with the conceptual structure of the classified domains, as well as the cognitive linguistic approach in favor of providing Chinese language learners with a more natural, comprehensive, and efficient acquisition mode. And here is my reference list. Thank you so much for your attention. And now, if time allows, I would be interested to hear from you with your questions, comments, or suggestions. Mahalo.
You are now unmuted.
Thank you very much, Professor Wu, for your interesting diachronic study with interesting conclusions. I would like to give the floor to the audience on site if they have any questions